The defense of Quang Tri, fought between March and September 1972, was one of the most intense and significant battles of the Vietnam War, forming a crucial part of the North Vietnamese Easter Offensive, known in Vietnamese as the Nguyen Hue Offensive. Quang Tri Province, located just south of the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, was of immense strategic importance due to its position as the northernmost province of South Vietnam, directly bordering North Vietnam and lying along key supply and invasion routes such as Route 1 and Route 9. On March 30, 1972, in the midst of the monsoon season, the People's Army of Vietnam, ARVN, launched a massive conventional invasion of South Vietnam from across the DMZ and through Laos, supported by tanks, long-range artillery, and large infantry formations. The offensive, involving more than 30,000 North Vietnamese troops in the Northern Front alone, was designed to deliver a crushing blow to the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, ARVN, and possibly bring about the collapse of the South Vietnamese government before the United States could complete its withdrawal under the policy of Vietnamization. The initial North Vietnamese assault overwhelmed ARVN positions in northern Quang Tri. The defenders, consisting of the ARVN 3rd Division and regional forces, were under-equipped, poorly coordinated, and surprised by the scale and conventional nature of the attack. North Vietnamese troops used Soviet-supplied T-54 tanks and a relentless artillery barrage to breach South Vietnamese lines. Despite some determined resistance, particularly at strongpoints like Camp Carroll and the Rock Pile, ARVN units began to collapse under pressure. The fall of key positions, combined with massive desertions and panic among South Vietnamese troops, led to the rapid loss of Quang Tri City, which was captured by PAVN forces on May 1, 1972. This was the first provincial capital in South Vietnam to be lost to the north during the war, and its fall was a significant propaganda victory for the communist forces. In response, the South Vietnamese government, under President Nguyen Van Thieu, launched a counteroffensive with heavy American support. This counterattack was named Operation Lam Son 72, and it began in late June with the objective of retaking Quang Tri Province. The counteroffensive was led by the ARVN Marine Division and Airborne Division, supported by U.S. air power including tactical fighter bombers and B-52 Stratofortress bombers, as well as U.S. Navy gunfire support from the coast. Despite facing entrenched PAVN forces who had dug in and fortified the area with bunkers, minefields, and anti-aircraft defenses, ARVN troops advanced slowly but methodically. Urban combat was particularly brutal during the battle for Quang Tri City itself, with street-to-street and house-to-house fighting reminiscent of World War II. The PAVN held firm, especially around the Citadel of Quang Tri, a historic 19th-century fortress that became a symbol of the battle. The South Vietnamese suffered high casualties, but the infusion of American air power, including precision strikes and massive bombardments, gradually shifted the momentum. The PAVN, though resilient, could not match the firepower and coordination of the ARVN-American alliance. After weeks of grueling fighting, ARVN Marines finally stormed the Citadel on September 16, 1972, raising the South Vietnamese flag over its walls and symbolizing the province's recapture. The city itself, however, was in ruins, and the civilian population had largely fled or been caught in the crossfire. The retaking of Quang Tri was hailed by the South Vietnamese and the United States as a major military and psychological victory, demonstrating that the ARVN, with U.S. support, could stand up to a full-scale North Vietnamese assault. President Nixon used the battle to reinforce his policy of Vietnamization, claiming that the South Vietnamese had proven their ability to defend themselves as the U.S. gradually withdrew combat forces. Despite the victory, the battle exposed deep flaws in ARVN leadership, command structure, and morale. Furthermore, it showed the increasing conventional capabilities of the PAVN, who had moved from guerrilla tactics to large-scale, mechanized warfare. The defense of Quang Tri thus became a microcosm of the broader war effort, a temporary tactical victory for the South that masked underlying strategic vulnerabilities. As the war dragged on, the events of Quang Tri would foreshadow both the intensity of future battles and the limits of South Vietnam's capacity to sustain itself without continued American military involvement.